So I'm on this bus, and when I get on, there's only one vacant seat. So I sit next to a guy who doesn't look too bad. And after a few minutes, we start talking like you do when you're kind of bored and you're sitting next to some stranger. And he starts telling me this story, and I'm looking at him thinking, well, some weird guy is telling me some story. I don't know where it's going to go. I might as well listen to this and see if anything interesting happens. So he tells me this story about him and his girlfriend, which he refers to specifically as his ex-girlfriend. And I don't know if it was his ex-girlfriend after the story happened or if she was the ex-girlfriend as the story was happening. But I didn't really ask, so I just kind of listened. And he said him and his ex-girlfriend took a trip to Hawaii. And they were sitting in this bar having a couple drinks. I didn't ask what kind of drinks, but I imagine they were Hawaii-type drinks. Not shots of whiskey or something. And the bartender said, "Have you guys gone on the ghost boat?" And he said, "Ghost boat? What the hell is that?" He said, "It's just some kind of a story somebody made up to, fleece locals, but it's a pretty cool fishing trip. You should try it out." And so this guy, whose name I never got, and his ex-girlfriend went on this fishing trip. And when they got out to this small little private secluded cove, I don't remember what island it was, or I don't know if he told me, but he said it was just him and his girlfriend and the boat driver. And the story was that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, some woman was swimming and she got swept out to sea and she drowned. And so if her ghost is still living in the water or something, and if you give her one of your personal belongings, you'll catch a lot of fish. And he told me that, and when he told me, it didn't sound like he believed it that much, so I obviously didn't believe it either. It just sounds like some kind of a tourist story. But then he says he throws in one of his, he didn't want to spend a lot of, or throw something in worth a lot of money, so he took out one of those customer cards where you get 10 punches and get a free drink or whatever. So he threw that in because that was his personal property. And she threw in this little ankle bracelet. But as soon as she threw it in, she thought she was throwing in one that she just bought like 2 days ago from this stall downtown for like $1 or $2 or $3 or whatever. But as soon as she threw it in the water, she realized it was the one that she brought from home. And before thinking about it, she dove into the water after it. And she kind of swam down to the bottom as it was sinking. And she reached in to grab it, and she looked up, and there was that fucking ghost woman in the water staring at her underwater. So she freaked out, pulled her hand back, and as she did so, she sliced her whole arm open. And she sliced her whole arm open, and my friend, the guy, not really my friend, the guy sitting next to me on the bus said that he looked down and he saw this big plume of red spread underwater, and the boat driver freaked out. But then this guy was about to jump in and save her, but the boat driver said, "Don't do that because that'll attract all the sharks." And sure enough, a bunch of sharks came and ate this guy's ex-girlfriend. And I guess that's why she is an ex-girlfriend, not because they broke up or she got pregnant by the hotel masseuse or anything like that, but because she was eaten by sharks after slicing her wrist open while seeing this ghost underwater. And I thought, Jesus Christ, dude, that's the most fucked up story I've ever heard. And I kind of tried to ignore him for a while, which is hard to do if you're sitting next to a guy in the bus. And finally I got off, and I was kind of in a daze, and when I got off the bus, I looked around and realized that I didn't know where I was. And so I went into the first bar that I saw, still kind of reeling from this crazy story of this guy. I don't know if it was real or if he just made it up on the spot. But I ordered a shot of whiskey, the bartender poured it, I slammed it back, and then I looked up to order another shot, and there was a picture on the wall of this like undersea picture, like a bunch of the coral and the fish, but there was like this kind of partially translucent picture of a woman in this weird kind of blue dress, and her hair was black and it was kind of flowing, and it was a kind of a picture where the person in the picture looks right at you, and no matter where you move, her eyes are like following you. And I asked the bartender, I said, "Dude, where did you get that picture?" And he said, "I don't know. It was here when I bought the bar." And I said, "When did you buy the bar?" He said, "Like 30 years ago." And so I just kept drinking whiskey, and I don't know how many shots I had or what. And to tell you the truth, I don't really remember how I got home that night. I just remember waking up in my bed the next day with vague recollections of fishing, which I don't think I'll be doing any more of.